Hey everyone, I'm Alexis the Ego Queen. Love me, I know you do. Anyway, today I'm joined by Remlays from 40k Theories.
Hello, everyone.
Just okay. I forgot you don't actually have a full intro thing going on.
What do you mean?
Like you never had like a full out intro. But anyway. You know, like I have the hair flip and everything. You can't flip. Like, just can't.
My hair's longer than yours.
I. That's probably true. But anyway, today we are doing an intro into the Eldar for Warhammer 40k. Now, this is a series where you guys have seen the other episodes by now. I like to look into their lore just a little bit, touch up on that, touch up on the units, how they play on the tabletop, units I like, units I dislike, and general stories about them. If you'd like to contribute, you can use the super chat feature in the description down below. It helps me out. Anyway, let's get started. So, Remlays, would you like to explain the War in Heaven?
Yes, one of multiple events known as the War in Heaven, so it's quite easy to get lost in this whole thing. But the Eldar War in Heaven was essentially when the Chaos God Slanesh was born and decided to run amok amongst the entirety of the Eldar pantheon, basically slaughtering and devouring pretty much every single Eldar god, with the exception of three. Kayla Menshikane, who was shattered into a million fragments, Chigorak, who fled into the webway, and Isha, who was claimed by Nurgle by answering her calls for help. Before anyone asks, yes, I know there's Iniad as well, but he wasn't here yet.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was still dormant at this time, according to the newer lore.
yeah, so he doesn't count. But the War in Heaven was the Eldar gods having their collective asses kicked
Yeah,
by
pretty
one god.
pretty much. And after this event took place, after Slanesh decided to start killing all the Chaos Gods, it took the intervention of two other Chaos Gods to actually stop Slanesh. Khorne protected the Avatar. Well, Khorne protected Cain, and Nurgle protected Isha. The Eldar were then split into several different factions. The Craftworld Eldar, which were far enough away from the birth of Slanesh to actually survive, still witnessing in their mind's eye the events of the War in Heaven, but not being able to take full part in it. Their kin decided to live upon their craft worlds and, well, do their own thing for a minute. Then there was the Dark Eldar. The Dark Eldar were, well, they survived the actual war, the big boom that blasted away almost all of them. But they decided to go down the hedonism path. They satisfied the quenching in their souls for violence and bloodshed that Slanesh left there. Kind of like a curse. Think of Black Rage, Red Thirst with Khorne, but this one was for the Eldar from Slanesh. This, by doing this, they satisfy Slanesh's needs, and they don't actually go to Slanesh when they die. They still do.
Unless they transfer their souls into a new body upon
Oh,
death.
yes, yes.
Which many of them do. Particularly the homunculi such as Yurin Rakov, however his regeneration process has been corrupted somewhat, that's why he's now sprouting a crap ton of extra limbs.
Yep. And then the Dark Eldar, not the Dark Eldar, the Harlequins actually fled into the Webway to protect themselves along with their god, Kigorath.
Chigorak. Chigorak.
Chigorak. However you pronounce the Eldar silly names. During this time, the Imperium actually started to boom and really go out and start their crusades and everything to reunite everything while the Eldar was still recovering. The Eldar didn't actually take too big a part in the Horus Heresy and in the grand scheme of things for quite some time, mostly because of recouping losses and staying on the furthest skirts of the galaxy. This changed, however. Whoop, go ahead.
So, there were a few instances the Eldar did get involved in during the Horus Heresy. One of the which was the warning from Eldar An Intro to Fulgrim, basically to warn him about the dangers of chaos, but upon noticing that Fulgrim had the layer blade, he knew that Fulgrim was already lost to chaos. And
Yep.
not only that, but a force of Dark Eldar raiders tried to actually kill Angron, but in the end, they failed because Angron and Lorgar decided to do one of their very rare team ups. And
Yep.
also, in regards to Eldar factions, don't forget the
Yes, the
Exodites, who
Exodites,
are.
the I was getting to them. They weren't big during the initial fall. They from what I gathered and from what I've read from all the sources and everything, they actually splintered off from the craft worlds themselves, mostly comprising that of rangers and pathfinders, which
It
then developed
wasn't
their own
really.
communities and flourished into the Eldar Exodites.
It wasn't really from the Cravels. They just fled from the homeworld because they saw how the Eldar were basically debasing into
Well,
hedonism and excess, and they basically thought, this is wrong, and we're going to go for a harder but simpler life.
that was the initial ones, yes, but in Path of the Farseer, they explain that the Rangers are mostly Exodites. So, just saying,
Hmm,
just saying.
that's
It could
interesting. I
be,
need to read that.
yes. Well, the Eldar's lore is kind of all over the place. Multiple writers wrote multiple different versions of the Eldar's origin story, all of which are true, but none of which are canon or something like that, along the Black Library's lines of, we didn't proofread this. But the Eldar Exodites are known for riding dinosaurs and dragons into battle. They don't really actually take too big a part in the grand scheme of the galaxy, nor the Eldar races. They're kind of just on the outside worlds, and in Path of the Farseer, they kind of just let them all get killed by the Tyranids.
And there was that one incident
Yeah.
where the Exodites actually fought against the Salamanders Legion during the Horus Heresy.
Yep.
I think it was the novel Promethean's Son, I believe it was.
In the most current lore, the Eldar have splintered into a new faction called the Inari. The Inari actually awoken their god. Well, their god is not fully awoken yet, but enough that it can create avatars and everything and pick a champion. Enid. Enid is currently leading in an alliance with the Imperium after resurrecting Reboot Gilliman to try to stop chaos altogether. They see chaos as kind of like the grand enemy, and they don't really have a reason to fight against the Imperium, and the Imperium is now eternally grateful to them for returning one of their demigods. Gilliman, seeing the Imperium for what it's become, actually keeps counsel with the Eldar as well as with his own men, communicating through Eldred Uthran, to Enid herself.
Sure, it's not with Ivrain.
Evrain. God damn, I knew I was going to mess up these names. Evrain.
It's
Evrain.
Ivrain, the magical girl of the 40k universe.
The magical plot hole.
No, she's a magical girl. She's Sailor Moon.
Well, I mean, she couldn't beat up a... She lost half of her troops to a bunch of birds. I mean, come on. In all fairness, those were Slaneshi birds that were whispering deceit into all of their ears. That's
And
actually
she's
really cool.
also Gilliman's waifu.
Oh yeah, definitely waifu material right there. The Inari themselves are currently... They just retrieved the... What was it? The Eye of... No, they didn't get the Eye of Night. They got the Shroud of Darkness. And they are after another artifact for Reboot Gilliman. Reboot Gilliman is currently using the Eldar to enact his ultimate goal, which was set to him by his... Well, by the Emperor himself, his father. Current lore of the Eldar actually has them as really cool because they've unified most of the factions under the Inari banner. And that's pretty much it. I mean, Armin assaulted the Black Library, and Armin didn't even know about the Stairway to Heaven. He didn't even know the way in. He didn't actually face any of the Black Library's guardians. He's only been facing Harlequins on the outside. And Ivrain saw Armin as more of a tedious little pawn than anything else. Rather amusing, in my opinion. And one of my favorite lines is from that book, where she just goes, Armin. And she's such a bitch. Like, I just imagine her doing a hair flip and everything. Gotta love her. Gotta love her.
And also, in regards to going back to factions again, don't forget the Corsairs, who are like the halfway point between Craftworld and Dark Eldar. They like the freedom of mind and the sassiness and piratical nature of the Dark Eldar, but they still wear soulstones because they're still scared shitless.
Well, yes. Oh, and one of the biggest differences between all three of the factions, Craftworld Eldar are all psychers. Every single one of them has potential psychic powers, and they usually communicate with each other by, well, psychic powers. The Dark Eldar have rejected all psychic powers and instead do their insane bloodlust and hedonism to protect themselves.
In fairness, though, the Dark Eldar do still have psychic potential. They just, majority of them have let the abilities atrophy through lack of use.
Yeah.
But there is always the potential for a Dark Eldar to be an extremely powerful psyker, because it's ingrained into their very DNA.
Now, the Harlequins themselves, we do know a good chunk of them are psychers. In fact, one of them is actually known as a White Seer.
Shadow Seer, isn't it?
No, White Seer. White Seers can't be possessed and are completely immune to the forces of chaos. There are Farseers, like Super Saiyan version. One of them appears in Shroud of Night, and it's really, really good.
I just read Shroud of Night. There's no Eldar in Shroud of Night.
No, not Shroud of Night. What is the book? All these books sound the same.
Eye of Night?
Eye of Night. They talk to a White Seer. Yeah. God, it's hard to keep track of all these knife ears. Ah. I am trying my best to stay on my bestest behavior because I just want to murder all these pesky little Eldar. But that's just me. So what are some notable things from the fluff that you really enjoyed, Remlace?
I really enjoy the Phoenix Lords.
Ooh, the Council.
Say that again, sorry?
The Council.
No, not the Council.
No, the Council of Phoenix Lords. It was a formation back in Apocalypse 6th edition. It was it was all the Farseers and the Avatar of Cain, and it was god awful. Took away all their abilities.
I like the Phoenix Lords because they're essentially the Eldar equivalent to the Primarchs in a way. Yeah, the big legendary heroes who are stupidly powerful warriors. And I also like the fact that in the Jane Czar novel, there's actually the chapters alternate between present day and just after the fall, where you had the original Jane Czar, and when she met up with the original.
That's what it's called. Continue.
When she met up with the original Asurman and the original Malgan Ra, and that was also when they first met Nakari as well. Yes, she makes an appearance.
Nice. Some of my favorite lore for them involves the war with Slaanesh, where most of them died. That was probably my favorite part.
I have a funny feeling you don't really like the Eldar that much.
Just a smidge. You know, they kind of screwed up the entire galaxy multiple times, and instead of, actually trying to communicate to anybody, they just went, oh, we're so much better than these guys. Pathetic little monkey.
Do you know what the funny thing is, though? How the Eldar view the Imperium is the exact same situation how the Imperium is with the Tau.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. But the Tau are dumb, and we lit them all on fire.
Didn't the Eldar think the same way about humans?
But they didn't set us all on fire.
No, because Celeste got popped out the warp and said, hello.
See? There you go. If you don't know what I'm talking about, at the end of was it the Damocles event? Yeah, I think it was the Damocles event. The entirety of the fourth expansion or third expansion of the Tau was destroyed by the Imperium. The Imperium did suffer a huge loss, but they just burned everything. So much fun.
And there was also a Chaos Tau as well.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
He was awesome, though. He melted a Space Marine and turned him into a bird at the same time while he melted him.
Your face is a bird. In all technicality, it's half bird because it's a dinosaur. Huh.
Yes.
Anyway. Moving on from the Eldar's lore themselves, we're going to go into units on the tabletop. Or just units in the lore themselves that we really like. So the Dark Eldar are led by, well, as Remley said before, the Phoenix Court, which is all of their great champions throughout the years that are constantly resurrected through spirit stones. These
You
leaders...
said the Dark Eldar were led by them. You just said the Dark Eldar were led by them.
On all technicality, right now they are.
As
the
Eldar
are... The Eldar are broken down into different, what do they call them?
Cabal? No, the Dark Eldar are broken down to Cabals.
Yeah, the Eldar themselves are different paths. Yeah.
You're talking about the paths, okay.
Yes, the different paths of the Eldar. There's ones that really like fire, ones that really like birds.
The aspect shrines, okay.
Yes, the aspects, that's what they're called. Ones that really like to just run at infantry and kill them. Ones that really like dancing.
Which ones are those?
Not Harlequins, Banshees.
No, they just run at people and kill them.
Yeah, I actually do like the Howling Banshees. Like, if there is one set of Tau that I do like, it's the Howling Banshees.
Tau? Where are we getting Tau from now?
Stop it! You're confusing me with your stupid...
You're confusing me. You're talking about Howling Banshees Tau. So what's that? Tau Space means Tau Howling Banshees.
Starting over. The
Dark Eldar Phoenix Lords.
Stop it! This is why I never work with the Inquisition. Alright, you talk about the different sex. God damn it, I'm done. Your turn.
Right, so the aspect shrines are basically specializations on the Eldar path of the warrior, which basically symbolize Kayla, Mention, Kane, and all his different warrior aspects. For example, you have the Swooping Hawks, which are jump troops, Dark Reapers, who are basically carrying huge missile launchers, Striking Scorpions as heavy assault infantry, Howling Banshees, which fulfill a more or less identical role, but they just scream at people really loudly, the Dire Avengers, who are essentially the equivalent of Space Marine tactical squads, and you also have things such as the Fire Dragons, who are also anti-heavy armor, but use things such as fusion guns, which are like Eldar melter weaponry, to basically melt things into oblivion.
Yep. There's also the different paths aside from that, which are like diplomats, singers, artisans, leaders.
Nasir. Yes, these basically allow the Eldar to train in specific roles while maintaining a strict mental discipline, because on the craft worlds, you have to be extremely disciplined to prevent the attentions of Slaanesh from looking upon you, because most Eldar outside of the webway are absolutely frightened of being in real space because they can feel Slaanesh looking right at them. So while they walk on these specific paths, they can maintain the mental discipline to not have Slaanesh looking right at them. However, certain people do get lost upon the path and are unable to leave it, and become things such as Exarchs on the case of the Path of the Warrior, or Farseers for the Path of the Seer.
Yep. Now, let's talk about the different Eldar, the Harlequins.
Yes.
The Harlequins are broken down into troops, or troupe, however you want to say it. They also have Witch Seers and... I don't know, just jet bikes. That's really it. There's not too much to talk about them. I don't know why they
They've
made them
also
a
got-
separate army, but they did. They could have just
don't
included them
forget,
into
there's
one.
also the Death Jesters,
Oh
who are
yeah,
awesome.
yes they are. And then the Dark Eldar are split up into. What are they split up into?
Cabals,
Cabals.
which are like essentially different war bands.
Yeah. Now, moving away
Gangs.
from that, we're going to talk about how they perform on the tabletop. This is where my expertise comes in handy because I really know how to kill Eldar. The normal Eldar tend to be more fire-focused and quick maneuverability. Basically, they run and point guns and shoot. They're cowards.
Like the Tau.
Yes, actually. But their shooting is better. On the contrary, the Harlequins actually dart directly at you. They have a 4+ invo and can actually survive quite a lot of abuse because of that 4+ invo. Everything in their army has it, so it's amazing. Then we have the Dark Eldar. The Dark Eldar actually play surprisingly like Space Marines. And what I mean by this is they set up a firing line and they just fire across the battlefield. I know that sounds like Guard, but they also engage in mid-field combat, which is unlike the Guard. They hoard and pour out Dark Lances like crazy. I was fighting a list the other day that had 62 Dark Lances in it. That was a really hard battle because they went first and leveled half my army. Still won. That's the important bit. Because Sisters of Battle are broken. But we won't get into that. Really broken.
Maybe for another video.
Oh god, yes. Maybe I should do a video on armies that need to be nerfed. It would just be about sisters. But when it comes to the battlefield, all Eldar are very quick, they're hard-hitting, and they're squishy. They're mostly glass cannons aside from the regular Craftworld Eldar. The regular Craftworld Eldar are a bit more tanky than their counterparts. And I do legit mean tanks. They are tanky. Moving away from that, we're going to talk about our favorite units. Like the coolest things in their lore that we really like. So,
well, firstly, how can you mention their units and not bring up the Avatar?
Oh, I hate the Avatar. Like, I like the Avatar of, No, I just hate the Avatar. I like the Forge World one. That's about it.
I mean, yeah, but in regards to lore and its effectiveness on the battlefield...
But he's terrible.
Is the Avatar still immune to flame, plasma, and melter weaponry?
Plasma, no. Flames and meltas, maybe. I know he's kind of garbage. I kind of just two-shot him from across the battlefield. He's not really that good. And people tend to run him forward, so... Yeah, he's kind of garbage.
What about the other Avatar, the Incarnate?
The Incarnate is actually incredibly good. Being able to spawn onto the battlefield wherever you need it, and being quicker and not as strong as the Avatar himself, but just as deadly. I would take the Incarnate over the Avatar of Cain any day.
And what about the Wraith Guard? Those are pretty awesome.
They're still powerful, they're still very strong, but they're very, very, very... They're not cost efficient. That's the thing. They're very pricey for what they do. But what is your favorite Eldar on the battlefield? Like, what do you see an army and just go, that's the Eldar?
It would have to be the Aspect Warriors, just because of how well their armor is designed, how colourful they generally are on the battlefield.
Fair enough.
Because most, with Craftworld Eldar, they're all black for Ulfway, or all green and white for Bealtan, etc. And then you've got to have these pops of blue and red and stuff, for the Aspect Warriors.
You gotta have your Skittles on the battlefield.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am so sorry about the motorcycles going by my house. Don't worry, in 2 weeks, that'll be done.
Yeah,
as for
no more
my favorite unit on the battlefield when I'm fighting against or with Eldar is a dead Eldar. There's nothing better than just seeing one dead on the ground with no soul stones near it. just dying horribly, screaming in agonizing pain as it's tortured to death.
Also, did you know there's an Eldar / cult?
Yes, I did.
Did you know that what they were called the Harmonious?
I did not know that, but I do know that there is a Eldar world in the warp itself that is completely dedicated to Slaanesh.
Oh, this one's not in the warp, it's in the webway.
Oh, that's even more terrifying. But when it comes down to it, I will admit one of my favorite models in the Eldar army, Eldar, Dark Eldar, and Harlequin army, is the Wraith Knight. It just looks so cool. I will admit that. I really do like it. I don't like their Titans, as I see them as more Power Rangers, but their Wraith Knight encaptures like what it is to be an Eldar. And I really enjoyed that.
And in regards to Dark Eldar, I really like the Talos Pain engine.
Although I do wish that they would bring out the Dark Eldar Wraith constructs. They don't have many of them, but they do exist.
I just wish they'd make a new model for Asdrubal Vex. We've not had one since 3rd edition.
You know what? No, I want models for Sisters of Battle. Let's do that first. Stop with all this new crap like Primaris garbage and give us plastic sisters. Hell, I'm going to have more plastic in me than the Sisters of Battle army is going to.
The Primaris are awesome.
Anyway. I do like
one took 2 sniper bullets to the face from an Alpha Legion sniper and got right back up.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
And then he got impaled and was still fighting. Then he got cut in half and still managed to get a shot off before dying.
Oh my god.
But again, they were only fighting Alpha Legion, you know, the weakest Legion. No, actually, no, that's not true. Where's the Word Bearers?
Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, the Word Bearers are...
Word
bearers are god-awful.
I've now got this image of Law guy, you know, dressed in street clothes going, word.
When it comes down to, like, how the Eldar perform on the tabletop, we've already covered that. Things that I think need to be improved in the Eldar, Dark Eldar, and Harlequins is they need to be more point efficient. They're kind of high-costed for what they do right now. And I don't really like that. I like fighting fair. Although I do like one-shotting a Wraith Knight from across the table with a Titan. Sorry, Ghost. That was fun. Pew! And it's dead.
Well, it was his fault for placing a block of cheese on the battlefield, wasn't it, then?
Oh god, they're not even cheese anymore. They're god-awful.
It's moldy cheese.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Is there anything else that we needed to cover about the Eldar for a good intro into 40k? That's pretty much it, right?
I believe so. Unless you want to talk about the Farseers briefly.
Nah, that's getting in too much into the lore. I do have reading recommendations, though. Howl of the Banshee is really good, and the Path of series, which includes Path of the Exodite, Path of the Farseer. What are the other 2 books?
Outcast, wasn't it?
Yeah, Path of the Outcast, and the like. They're really good. I just got done reading Path of the Outcast. It kind of was sad. Like, the Eldar were abandoning Eldar. Yeah.
I also recommend James R. The Storm of Silence as well.
Oh, that's a good one.
Phoenix Laws. That's a good one.
But anyway, that's all I wanted to cover for today in this brief overview of the Eldar species as a whole. As always, I'm Alexis the Ego Queen. I love you guys. Bye.